Hello, bonjour everyone. It is a beautiful summer day here in Saskatchewan and a great day to host our first manufacturers showcase. The Crane Rental Association of Canada acknowledged that our office, located in Regina, Saskatchewan, is on Treaty 4 territory, land of the Cree, the Saulteaux, Dakota, Lakota, Nakota, and the Métis. The association respects and affirms the inherent and treaty rights of all Indigenous peoples across this land. My name is Claire Bélanger-Parker, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce our first speaker of the day. I first met Ken several years ago as he attended our annual conference and discovered that he's a great hockey fan, something I did not expect from someone living in Texas. He grew up in Chicago, attending Blackhawks games, played hockey, coached hockey, and took his love of hockey all the way to Texas. And he's still a Blackhawks fan. So let's welcome Tadano America's Vice President of Sales, Ken Butts. Over to you, Ken.
Thank you very much, Claire. Good morning, good afternoon to all the members of CRAC. All of us at Tadano America greatly appreciate this opportunity to talk to you and present a little bit about our company, what we've been up to, and where we plan to go. To start off, Claire, that introduction was great. I am quite a hockey fan. Coming down to Texas, I moved to Texas in 1991. They had a hockey program at that time that was just starting out. What I came to find out is there were a lot of Canadians living in Houston that came down with the oil business out of Calgary, out of the oil sands and out of Edmonton. So made a lot of friends and was able to continue playing hockey, did a little bit of coaching through that time, and I still love the game. But on to Tadano. A lot of you know us for our cranes. You see a lot of our cranes working throughout the country. But for those of you that are not familiar with our history, I thought it might be interesting to just start out by giving you a little bit of a summary of where we were founded and how we're structured at this point. So we're 102 years old. We were founded in 1919. The founder, Mr. Masuo Tadano, started with really with a repair company and built that into a crane company. So in 1955, he developed Japan's first hydraulic truck crane. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can see a picture of that crane. It's still on display at our factory in Takamatsu, Japan today. In 1970, we introduced Tadano's first rough terrain crane. And in 2019, we celebrated our 100th anniversary. We have 21 subsidiary companies globally. We have over 3,000 employees globally, and we have 11 factories. Recently, there was a change at the top. Mr. Koichi Tadano, who was third generation Tadano and served as our president and chair, has stepped aside to give the president role to Mr. Ujiya, who joined us on April the 1st. Through the changes that we've made and the growth that we've made, Mr. Tadano felt that it would be good to bring in a president that had a deeper knowledge of the global management of a company in the situation we're in, experiencing the growth that we are. And Mr. Ujiya surely has the skills to fill this position. Mr. Koichi Tadano will stay on board as our representative director to give guidance to Mr. Ujiya and to serve as our chairman of the board. For those of you that know Tadano America, I just thought I would give you a little insight that you may not be aware of. We were established in 1993. Our headquarters is in Houston. We provide all of the sales and service and support for all Tadano cranes that are marketed throughout both North and Latin America. We have full service distributor network in all the markets that we serve. And we also have full service facilities. I think many of you are familiar with the facility that we opened up in 2016 in Leduc, Alberta. We also have a full service facility at our headquarters in Houston, Texas. And we have a full service facility in Santiago, Chile, which is the regional facility that serves all of Latin America. What's new at Tadano? We've been very busy. So I thought I would give you a little bit of a rundown of what has been happening. I started with 2019 when we acquired DMAG mobile cranes from Terex. Along with acquiring DMAG in that same year, we opened our 4th crane factory in Takamatsu, Japan, that currently builds our RT cranes. The picture in the center shows you the new facility. An interesting point on this is you can see it sitting out on an island, which is right off the backside of Takamatsu in the Bay Area. So it's sheltered from the turbulent weather from the seas on the other side of those mountains that you see. That's actually a 40-acre island, and that was actually built by Tadano and the city of Takamatsu specifically to build this factory on top of. As many of you know, and if you've traveled through Japan, space is very precious. So this was one way to build a factory without disturbing or having to utilize space on the mainland portion of Takamatsu. The backside of this picture was an early picture, and at this time, we have our own docks there. So as the cranes are rolling off of the line, the cranes can be loaded from those docks right over and brought to the main ports where they're shipped out globally as required. Then in January of 2020, we've launched 3 new RT models. Many of you have already seen them arrive, but we have them working up in Canada. Our 100-ton models, the GR1000 XL4, and the long boom version, the XLL4, and the GR800. Then we launched our 4th RT model, the GR1300-4, in March of 2021. Back in 2020, in February, another important point for Tadano America is that originally we were just responsible for sales and support of the Tadano product within the US, Canada, and Mexico. We are now have responsibility for all of North America, Central, South America, and the Caribbean. So along with the growth within Tadano as a corporation, Tadano America has expanded greatly. In doing that, we've increased both our support and our sales staff to accommodate that additional responsibility. So what's next at Tadano? Well, right now, we just received one of our new products. It's built in Germany at our Zweibrücken factory, which we acquired in our acquisition of DMAG. It's the GTC 2000. It's a telescopic boom crawler crane with a base capacity rating of 172 tons. The first one arrived in Houston this month. We have it set up to where we've been doing our product training internally and also bringing in some visitors to take a look at the crane. We are now in the process of tearing it down to get it ready to go out on its first job. It will be working in the Midwestern United States in July. What else is coming on the horizon? Well, in October of 2021, Tadano is going to harmonize our brand name. So many of you know that the telescopic boom crawler cranes are now marketed as Tadano Mantis. The all-terrain cranes that we acquired from DMAG are marketed as Tadano DMAG. And the legacy for the Tadano ATF cranes is the result of when we acquired Fawn. So the AT is all-terrain Fawn. We are going to be retiring the name Fawn, Mantis, and Tadano. So effective October 1st, all of the Tadano cranes that roll off our manufacturing line will be only branded and marketed as Tadano. There's a lot of value in the legacy names. However, everybody knows the history, and we feel that going forward, it's in our best interest and really for the industry to be known as Tadano. Along with that, we are also going to harmonize the nomenclature of the all-terrain cranes and of the lattice boom cranes. So right now, as you know, for instance, we have the AC220-5, which is a DMAG built crane, and we also have an ATF 220-5, which is the crane that was the legacy Tadano crane built at our other factory at Fawn. Going forward, in effective starting October, the models rolling off of the line will take on a new name. All of our all-terrain cranes will start out with the prefix of AC, and then the number you see, the number 5 in this instance, denotes the number of axles, and then the 220 is the base rating of the crane in metric tons, and then the -1 denotes the series. So very quickly, I think Justin is going to be talking a little bit more about the harmonization in his slide presentation, but wanted to give you an overview of those changes that will be taken into effect. And then lastly, what I wanted to mention is that we will be rolling out several new models in 2021 and going forward. So at this time, It's a bit preliminary to give you more further details, but please stay tuned. It will be happening quickly. I think you'll be impressed and excited with the changes that we have to offer to the marketplace. And we're excited to continue servicing the market in Canada. So with that, I'm going to turn this presentation over to Mr. Dan Melnick. Dan is our Director of Sales. He guides our sales team in North America, Canada, and the US. Along with me, one of the reasons Dan is in that position is we're both great hockey fans, so that when we're not talking about cranes, we're usually talking about hockey. Dan resides in Connecticut. He is by background from the finance business. He has done a great job in the crane business. Many of you know him. In my experience working with him, I have to tell you, he is probably one of the most tenacious networkers I have ever worked with. He has built a tremendous customer base, a loyal following, and he's doing a great job leading Tadano as we go through this growth period. With that, I am going to turn this over to Dan. And again, I just want to say thank you on behalf of Tadano for allowing us this opportunity to present to you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken, for those warm and heartfelt comments. I am a New York Ranger fan. It has been a little bit of an unfortunate year, but an Original Six fan on hockey nonetheless. I have coached hockey. I also have a son that is going to be going into travel hockey, so in for a little bit of a world of fun, and some pain is there as well. But today we're not going to be talking about hockey. We're going to transition over to cranes. And we're going to talk today about how we're going to take customer support to the next level on the Tadano side. So without further ado, I'm going to get started off. Tadano maintains its laser focus on safety, quality, and efficiency to resolve issues to keep our customers running. Our mission statement is to offer our customers great experience with ease, maximize crane uptime, and instill confidence in our brand. On the objective side, we want to add value to our customers after the sale of our products through our service technicians and our call center. From a systems perspective, we're streamlining our processes and we're leveraging KPIs to further enhance our customers' experience for stock levels and fill rates. Some quick facts on the service side. On the service side, maximizing uptime is our business, right? We want to maintain a safe work environment for our service technicians that are visiting on site and performing tasks. Since August of 2019, we've increased our North American factory trained field service team by 21%. That has gone from 23 individuals up to 29. And this is in addition to our factory trained distribution channel service technicians. So our customers out there do have options. Today in the field, we have 5 times more DMAG technicians than the business had in August of 2019 during the transition. And in Canada, we've improved our service coverage by cross-training our teams to support all Tadano product lines. As of January 1st of 2020, we combined our entire support team to provide better coverage for our customers and faster response times. And lastly, we've incorporated our Tadano Mantis customer support team and processes to enhance our Mantis support. We've currently brought over 5 individuals and we are hiring a 6th currently. Next, we have a factory field service coverage map. And what the orange locations dictate are facilities with multiple support staff. The blue pin drops are field-based team members with tools and vehicles. And in some cases, one of those pins might represent more than one person. As mentioned previously, we have 29 dedicated field service people, in addition to our trained distributors. And our call center team members are not included in the number above. And those people can travel as required. So you will see on the orange, we will have Houston facilities, we will have also Richlands, and we will also have in Franklin, Tennessee, as well as Leduc. Next is our Tadano facility located in Leduc, Alberta. This is a full-time service and support facility. It has a parts department to support all Tadano products and needs. And we also have distributor and customer technician training courses held there. Now we're going to transition over to our customer call center. As of June of 2020, we launched our new customer call center. It's comprised of 22 people, including our Mantis team. And we are leveraging the latest technology to accommodate the best possible customer experience, and that is through Ring Central. We have 10 service experts to support technical calls, 5 parts technical experts to support part identification needs, and 7 general support team members to handle general questions and inquiries. We have launched a single North America call number for all inquiries. That is the 1-833 Tadano 1 number. If there is one thing you take from my presentation today, it is that number that allows our end customers and distributors to have a direct line into the OEM to help troubleshoot effectively out in the field. That call number is available 365 days, 24/7, including after-hours support. And it was launched in September of 2020 to provide a 100% answer rate and allow access to all areas of our customer support business the way that we configured our phone system. Next, we're going to discuss warranty and just some quick facts. So we believe when you have quality products, it's very easy to demonstrate that with our actions. And what I mean by that is our current target is to process every warranty claim within 24 hours of submission and turn those around. We've launched a standard warranty statement for our Tadano and DMAG products that was effective March of 2020. And we have increased travel reimbursement, so up to 12 hours, 6 hours there, 6 hours back for more remote areas and our distributors to be able to perform those campaigns for customers. We have a new warranty manual combining our businesses that was effective March 1st. And we have combined our online warranty system for all products launched as of April of 2020. We incorporated Tadano Mantis under that umbrella for the One Tadano branding for October of 2020. And lastly, we're going to discuss parts. So obviously maximizing our customers' efficiency is our top priority. Since October of 2019, we've increased our DMAG fill rates by 7%. We've increased our on-hand parts inventory dollars by 21%. And as of December of 2019, we increased our Tadano fill rates by 5%. Parts cutoff times have been extended for same-day shipments to 4:30 Central. In some cases, this can mean an additional day of uptime for our customers. And we now operate 3 warehouses locations in North America. We have 2 in Houston. That includes our new DMAG facility that is dedicated for parts. And we also have 1 in Leduc. And before the end of Q1 of 2022, our Mantis products will be following the same process and procedures here and putting parts into that warehouse. With that said, I'd next like to introduce Justin Andrews. Justin has a love of motorsports. He resides in British Columbia. His love for motorsports is so much so that it usually involves concussions and rehabbing ailments in his body. He is an Australian living in Canada. And with that, I will give you Justin.
Thanks, Dan. In that tree came out of nowhere. I didn't see it coming. I did hit it pretty hard and woke up 5 minutes later, but I was fine. Good morning, good afternoon, and bonjour to everyone listening. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation. So my name is Justin Andrews, and yes, I am basically full Australian, but I did move over here in 2016. I've been working for Tadano now for 10 years, and in 2016 I came over to support and try and promote the Tadano product to the Western Canadian and Western US market. Okay, so through this presentation, I just want to touch on 4 points. And I'll be talking about the current Tadano crane lineup. So what we actually have as a product that we can offer to our Canadian customers. I want to be talking about the next generation. So in 2020, as Ken Butts said earlier, is that the 2020 model of rough terrain cranes went through a revamp and a redesign. And I just want to dive into that a little bit more in depth. And I also want to address the challenges that we face in our industry, which we all face, and what we're doing as a manufacturer to help the industry and also our customers to try and ease these challenges. And then when you do purchase a Tadano product, the customizable options you actually have when you actually want to take the jump. So this is just touching on the lineup. Now, starting with the rough terrain cranes, this is our current offering. We have 9 models to choose from, everything from a 2-axle 15-ton with a 78-footer boom all the way up to 160-ton with a 200-footer boom GR1600. These products are all 100% made in Japan, and with Japanese products. A lot of the local manufacturers of the winches and also a lot of other components are very close to the factories in Japan. And this is what we fit to our machines. And all these products are 100% Japanese made. On the telescopic boom crawler crane lineup, this is our offering. A lot of these products, the majority of these products are made in the US, except for the GTC 2000, which is made in Germany in the Zweibrücken factory. We have 7 models to choose from here. These cranes have a fantastic chart and really are made as a versatile machine. Other options you can choose with some of these machines are pole claw kits, polytrack shoes to have soft shoes for when working on site, and also man basket attachments, and also auger packages if you want to do any piling and drilling work. The all-terrain lineup, this has grown quite substantially since the purchase of DMAG in 2019. We're offering 21 models into the North American market at this moment. This has been very exciting. Our all-terrains are very close to my heart. I really love playing with them. So the models here, everything from the 3-axle class all the way up to the 8 to 9 axle class. We basically should have any machine in any type of configuration, boom length, capacity that you have for a certain job. And I love to dive into these. I love really to talk about even specific cranes. As an example, the AC220 to the ATF220, 2 similar number of cranes, but 2 very differently built cranes. So, you know, I like to have these conversations with our customers. And just to give you an insight, in the next 5 years, we're looking at bringing 15 new crane models into this all-terrain lineup, and that's really exciting for me. So please watch this space. Lattice boom crawler crane line. This is coming out of our Zweibrücken factory, and obviously, as we all know, this is a DMAG product. 6 models to choose from, everything from a 440 ton and all the way up to our 3,520 ton, the CC8800 twin. And I'm really dying to see that crane one day, but it's a really exciting lineup. And for me, it's a big learning curve, and I'm really excited to learn about this product. A lot of these cranes are specifically designed for certain jobs, such as the CC3800, which is our dedicated wind machine. So if you are in the wind industry, you know, just jump online, have a look at our brochure and check out the specs of that crane. It's very impressive. A little did you know here was 1965 was the first DMAG lattice beam crawler crane with a 45 ton TC120. So there's a long history of manufacturing cranes. Now moving into the rough terrain, I want to touch on the generation, the previous generation versus the new generation. So as you can see here, very common crane, the GR1000 XL, very popular crane in the Canadian market. Moving forward, and just released in 2020, and it was actually released at ConExpo, was the GR1000 XL and the GR1000 XLL long boom version. I just want to touch on some really small points, which a lot of you would be very familiar with. These are the changes we've done. So in the previous generation, we actually had a curved windshield on the front of the cab. We've actually changed it now to a flat windshield with a longer wiper blade. Again, to better visibility, and also probably cheaper parts if you ever had to actually break the windshield, and easier to replace. Fixed counterweight position in one position, which is standard for a rough terrain crane. On the new models, we actually have 2 position counterweight. So basically the counterweight can position 2 feet behind, which actually provides you a better chart and better lifting capacity at radius. And also there's no moving parts in this. So the actual cylinders are sitting on the counterweight. So there's no swing arms or anything. It's just you put it in a different position and lift the cylinder back into place. One of the comments I always received from customers was about the ladder access. It was a beautiful crane, but access was a little bit tricky. In Tadano in Japan, we did hear this. So now, and I'll explain in more detail later, we actually have a 3-position ladder system and also relocation of the ladder for better access and egress. In the previous generation, we did not have a rear view camera or any safety cameras around the machine. So now we do have rear, side, front view cameras, plus also a backup sonar camera. And this is all standard. And these are just minor changes, but there is a lot more out there. For the guys that have been in the crane, they've actually used to the cab and used to seeing inside. This is the changes. Left side is the previous cab. We're going to this very similar size cabin, but we've changed the ergonomics where the dash is a little bit lower. You have more visibility. The AML screen is quite a bit bigger. It's now a touch screen, which has been tested down to -40°C and has a backup. So if there was a failure with the screen, we actually do have a backup to it. The mechanics are still they are mechanical linkage to a pilot valve. That did not change in this new generation. Also, the 100-ton class now has a tiltable cabin up to 20 degrees. As for the access and egress, this is what I was trying to explain earlier, and this is what our engineers in Japan came up with. We've actually relocated this cab slightly, and also the ladder where it sits directly under the cab, if you can see on this top left picture. So the access and egress is much, much nicer. And also the ladder in this bottom right picture actually can come out almost like a set of stairs now to make it easier, more comfortable for any operator. The cameras, which are now all around the crane, plus also on the winches, and also the backup sonar. This is something we have standard on all next generation GR 800, 1000 XL, and 1000 XLL cranes. Moving into the all-terrains, and this is something which I really dive into this because I found this is a very big challenge in the Western Canadian market, is the crane and dolly requirements are very, very strict. So what I do, I will work closely with the crane owners, and I want to find out exactly how they want to run. I want to run in 3 ways: legally, practically, and competitively. That's how I try and help out my customers. So I've worked with local engineers based in our factory, and also local engineers at dolly manufacturers to try and overcome the obstacles. And that ends up coming out with the design, and then we do what we call design and refine to get the solution for the customer, which brings out the final product, which from my experience has worked out very, very well. But at the end of the day, we always want to be safe and legal. That is my goal. And finally, the packages that we can offer for the Canadian customers. When I came in, I see there was a bit of a hole there for the winter packages. I wanted to really make sure that our cranes are well protected. So we can do everything from steel shivs, outrigger pads, to block heaters, any winter oils that are recommended for the crane, trickle charges. And then I kind of dived into the dolly side of things, where the mount for the dollies sometimes was not preferred from the customer. So I made sure that we can offer a single point connection, or we can do a 4-point connection. Or if you have a different type of connection, we can easily work with you to make that happen. Thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it. I'd like to move this now over to Mr. Lance Rybum from, he's the Eastern Canadian Regional Business Manager. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. I appreciate that. Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for taking the time to join us here today and kind of talk through the Tadano and DMAG brands and kind of what we've got coming in the future. My name is Lance Rybum, and I am the Regional Business Manager for the Eastern Province in Canada, so Manitoba to Atlantic Canada. And I'm also responsible for the Northeastern states in the US, so New York State, New Jersey, all the way up and through New England. Just a little bit about myself. I too am a hockey fan, been following the Penguins pretty much my whole life. This year didn't work out for us as well, but we've had some recent success, so no complaints here on that side. And for you Canadian fans, good luck to Montreal in the finals. It should be, hopefully they make it and they're good to go. But moving on, just going to talk about some of the all-terrain aspects and features that we've got in our cranes. So I'll touch on the all-terrain lineup, go into a little bit more detail and kind of show you the differences between the ATF and the AC and kind of how they complement each other as the acquisition was made. I'll talk a little bit about the IC1 Plus, some of the features and benefits. Talk also into the troubleshooting aspects. So Dan touched on this in his presentation as far as our 1833 Tadano 1 number and the accessibility for customer support in North America, and just show you how to incorporate the AMLF and the IC1 Plus and aiding those guys and helping you guys maintain your uptime and keep your cranes running. Also talk about a cool feature on AMLF if you're not aware. It's a lift adjuster. And go into the online DMAG lift planning tool that we've got available that simulates the IC1 Plus, and talk about IC1 Remote, our telematics technologies, and a few other technologies that we've got either coming or recently introduced into the product lineups. So first off, and I know Justin discussed kind of the product lineups and what we offer at a high level, like a 30,000 foot level. So if I come down into like the 15,000 foot level, just kind of show you where everything lines up and where it matches up between the models. So I do get questioned a lot, and I'm sure Justin and the other RBMs and Dan and Ken can attest to this as well. We get asked, what are we keeping? What's going away? What are we going to do with our models, and kind of how that's all going to integrate? And as you can see, looking at the lineup, I mean, we do have a lot of models now, but they really complement each other. And that's one of the things I want you to take away from this is the integration of the DMAG products on the all-terrain product family. Because of the technologies and the philosophy that DMAG used versus the technologies and philosophies that Tadano Fawn has used in the past, they really kind of mesh into a solid portfolio and gives you, the crane owners, the opportunity to really customize the fleet to your liking and what your needs are. So going down through the lineups, you'll see with the DMAGs particularly, they focus more on long boom single axle concepts. So you're gaining that weight benefit and then taking advantage of that and adding that extra boom section to really allow you to get more main boom length and save on the weights so you can get the permits for those size class machines. Conversely, the Tadano machines have traditionally stayed with the 2-engine machines and shorter boom, more known for their heavy pick main boom capacities versus their chip capacities. And like I said, you can see it really lines up well. We do have 1 or 2 spots where we got multiple machines in the same class with very similar specifications, but for the most part, the two lineups really complement each other, give us a full offering and allow you, like I said, the crane operator to really customize and pick and choose what fits your needs the best. So total right now, we've got 21 models, 8 of those with an ATF, 13 came from the DMAG AC product line. And over the next couple of years, we've got 15 new models coming. And I can tell you, we've got a couple of new models going to be introduced in the coming weeks, so just stay tuned, and we're really excited for that. Had the recent introduction of the 4080 and also the AC 7450. So we're really excited for those to come and the new models we've got coming on behind it. So moving on, talk a little bit about the IC1 Plus. So the IC1 Plus control system is the system that we will be continuing with to the future. So with the new models that we've had recently introduced with the ATF side, those models are going to continue through their natural lifespan. And as they get replaced, that's when you'll start to see the IC1 Plus get incorporated into the newer models. So IC1 Plus, some of the features, live determination of crane's capabilities, depending on the slew angle of the superstructure, counterweight, and the outrigger position. So it really allows you to take advantage of what the crane does and what it offers. It includes automatic counterweight detection. So as soon as you pick up the stack, it's going to know what's on the back of the crane. So it allows you just to confirm that in the IC1, and then you're good to go. But it does and should know what you're picking up. And the asymmetrical outrigger settings with the IC1, the plus aspect of it, it does allow you multiple length setups. So it'll incorporate that into maximizing your capacities. Some of the benefits of this: improves the versatility of your fleet. Paired with the onboard determination of the capacities, it just allows you to really work in confined spaces and maximize what your capacities are, as we talked. Reduce transport costs. So if you've got a situation where you may not be able to fully utilize the 100% outriggers, but you can in one spot, you'll be able to maximize what your capacities are over that outrigger beam and possibly beat and outlift what the 360 capacities would be in that particular situation. And you can also just maximize the crane's lifting capacity in general. So it allows you, through the slew radius, it'll interpolate and tell you what your back capacities will be. So it just really allows you to add the versatility to your fleet and gives you just a lot of flexibility. The first example we'll talk about with lifting over the outrigger beam. So as you can see, load case 1 is lifting over the side, just right out to the right-hand side of the screen there. Radius is 132 feet. The max lifting capacity in this situation with the outriggers at 75% is going to be 10,400 pounds. So in load case 2, where we're lifting over the beam, so you got a 20-degree plus or minus over the beam that gives you the increased capacities. And the radius is still 132 feet, but it increases that capacity to 22,000 pounds. So just over 100% improvement on capacities. Another advantage is being able to reach longer. So depending on your setup, you'll see in the example I've shown, the left side beams are at 0%, the right side beams that are 100%. So you can see over the left side, you're pretty limited on what you can lift, and you can see on the heat map there. But over the right side, it allows you to expand that radius. So left side, the max radius would be 138 feet, but on the right side of the crane, you're going to be able to reach all the way out to 220 feet in the same setup. So as you're slewing over that side, it really maximizes what you can do. And touching on the online job and lift planer. So this is a graphical job planning tool. It simulates the IC1 Plus that you see in the cab. It allows you to plan for asymmetric or just straight 360 charts, just depending on your setup and how you need to simulate it. It also shows in the lower right-hand corner, it gives you the outrigger ground pressure. So if you need to have critical lifts or different areas where the outrigger ground pressures are important, then you'll be able to go in and simulate that before going out to the job, so you know what limitations you have. The website's listed there below. You can also reach it at the dmagmobilecranes.com. There's a link on that page as well. Another benefit or feature of the IC1 Plus is capacity radar. So this is basically a plus or minus 30-degree working area that you can see, and the little black dot represents where your load is located within the chart. And obviously your green, yellow, and red simulate your limitations within your RCL or your IC1. Moving on to troubleshooting. So one of the benefits, and this is available, I don't have a screenshot of the IC1 Plus, so I apologize for that, but it's very similar to what you see on the AMLF. So this is a screenshot out of the newer AMLF control system in the Tadano Fawn ATFs. And as you can see, it's very simple to access what the error codes are within your crane. So all you do is click this little red button up here, and it'll pop up this little screen on the right-hand side. Everything is pretty plain. It tells you what the error code is and describes what the code should be. And paired with calling into the 1833 Tadano 1 number, and you can talk through with the Tadano tech, and they can actually help you troubleshoot and get the crane up and running. And we're looking 85% of the time, we're able to at least get your crane running. It may not be completely fixed and repaired, but you can get the jobs done. And you can get it back to your shop to finish and do the full repair if required. But great feature. It allows your operators to really know what's going on with the crane and hopefully help you troubleshoot and maximize your uptime. Another cool feature on the ATFs called Lift Adjuster. So what this does is it allows you to account for any boom deflection that you would have as you're picking a load. So most operators are very familiar with this. They're able to do it, but this takes the guesswork out and really allows the operator to sit back and have some level of comfort that he's not going to have to worry about his load swinging or anything getting damaged. So if you have an MRI or something really heavy that's inside and it's a blind lift, simply click the button that you see in the lower right-hand corner, revs up the RPMs on the engine, you pull back on the hoist control lever, and it goes through a set of lifting or running the hoist up and booming up to account for any boom deflection that you may have. As soon as it realizes that the LMI realizes that there's no more capacity or no more weight being added to the capacity or to the load, it automatically shuts off and the operator's back in full control of the crane. So again, just a safety feature. It might work a little bit slower than some operators say. That's one of the complaints I've heard about it, that it's slow, but it's intended to be slow. I mean, speed is the enemy in a lot of these critical lifts. So you want to take your time and make sure the crane's working properly. And this is what it allows it to do just automatically. Also works in reverse. So the lift release, we call that, but basically just exactly the opposite. Click the button, starts to lower the load. And as it releases the load onto the ground, it accounts for any boom deflection that may be had. Essentially what it's doing is reading the radius, what the radius is in the LMI. Lastly here, before I get into some of the other technologies, the telematics. So everybody's familiar with telematics. It's been around for a while. Our version of it, we've got the Helinet on the ATF side, and just the Tadano, it's on the GRs and the GTCs and other models as well. And then the IC1 Plus is or the IC1 remote was what was used on the DMAG side. So all the AC cranes, the CC cranes that are coming out have this capability. So essentially it's a cloud-based system connected through a mobile network. So it allows for two-way communication. So software updates in the future will be able to do that remotely. You won't have to worry about having somebody come out, have to shut down the crane and plug in a laptop and any of that. We'll be able to do it over the air. And essentially it's an extension of the IC1 Plus. So you can sit at your computer and pull up where your crane's at. You can pull up real time or virtually real time, obviously some latency issues with the wireless network. So it might not be specifically exactly the same as what you're seeing on the crane at that minute. but it's very, very close. And you can see what the loads are. You can see where it's located, so geolocation. Any information you can see within the IC1 Plus sitting in the seat of the crane, you can access through this database. You can access over 200 data points, so engine data, crane data, like I said, pretty much everything you can see in the IC1 Plus, you can see through the computer. Allows you the ability to set up email alerts. So if you have an overload or something happens to the crane, it moves outside your geofence that you set up, it'll automatically alert you via email. One big benefit of this too, you could set up utilization reports. So if you see you have a fleet of cranes and you're just seeing where they're being used, you can figure out either maybe you have the wrong crane in the fleet, you need to change to something else, or there's something missing that you may be able to add to your fleet to enhance it. Just allows you to really get into that finite data to see where you're at and what your fleet is doing. Also, lastly, is this API available, so you can interface with any third-party telematic systems that you may already have incorporated in your system. So all of that information and ability is able to be done with this. And lastly, so just a couple more features and technology that we've got either coming or already implemented. So EPAC, right now we've got this on 2 machines, the AC45 City, our 3-axle city crane, and also the AC480, which is coming later this year. Essentially, this allows you to bypass using your diesel engine. So if you've got an indoor job or any other sensitive jobs where you can't run a diesel or they're not really wanting that to be run, this allows you to completely run the crane just via a electric interface. You do have reduced speeds, but it does allow you to run the crane complete. Next, we have the axle load displays. It's a really cool feature if you're in areas. I know everybody here has to deal with permitting processes and making sure that your axle weights are accurate. And what this does is real-time axle weights. So as you're on a job site or as you're in the shop before you leave to go out onto the road, you can check your axle weights and in real time set up and balance out your weights to make it match what you need to be. Flex space in the lower left-hand corner. So just basically infinitely variable positioning on the outriggers. Essentially what we have in most of the larger cranes, and we still do today, but we will be moving towards flex space in some models going forward, is you have defined positions for the outriggers. So you've got, say, a 50, a 75, and 100%. And those beams need to be in that position in order to have the chart. If you're not quite to that position, you get the reduced chart. So this allows the computer in the IC1 Plus to interpolate any position along the beam. So it gives you a real chart and it maximizes the value of the crane and what its capacities are. And lastly, the Tadano surround view. So just bird's eye view. A really cool feature here is as the operator or driver is backing into a job site, you see an overhead view with the superimposed swing radius of the counterweight and every outrigger position that you'll be able to see. So you can see exactly where all of the interferences and the obstructions may be and allows you to maneuver and manipulate the crane to be in the best position possible to avoid all of those obstructions. And that's all I've got to share today. Again, thank you for taking the time. We really appreciate the opportunity, and please don't hesitate to contact any 4 of us if we could help you in the future. And Claire, I will send it back to you.
Thank you very much, Lance. I will invite Ken and Justin and Dan to join us back so that we can have a chat and answer some questions from your customers that are watching today. I'm just going to see if Ken is back with us.
There, I'm back, but I'm not able to connect my video. It says that the host has stopped it.
Okay, well, let me invite you back. Here we go. Wonderful.
There we go. Thank you, Claire.
Welcome back.
I thought it might have been something I said, so I'm glad you know.
Thank you. Not at all, not at all. You know, as I was listening to all of you speak, I thought about what a phenomenal change management process that Tadano has been going through, and the challenge of rebranding some very popular machines that you now have to kind of change the lingo. How long do you think this process will take, Ken? And because the unifying the brand with three other popular brands to all fall under Tadano, it's going to take a while for not only for you, obviously, your team, but also for your customer to get used to it. And I guess I also want to know all the tools that you're using. We talked about the DMAG mobile crane lift plan. Will all those different tools over time also change names? Ken?
Well, those are great questions, Claire. Thank you. First of all, when it comes to the branding and the identification of the product, Tadano has several missions in place. And in the first and foremost, for all of us in the crane industry, every day when we have meetings with our Japanese counterparts in any global meetings, we start out our form of salutation, similar to hello, is a term called guanzani. Guanzani, translated from Japanese, means safety first. That was developed by Mr. Koichi Tadano. And one of the interesting things about that translation is when we pronounce it, the emphasis is on the end of that sentence, guanzani. And basically what that is referencing is that you are making safety your own. So I think very important to the crane industry and all of us on this call, from a safety note, that is first and foremost in everything that we do and the way we run our business and the way we design our cranes. And it's important that all of us take responsibility to make sure that the environment that we're in, the job sites and everything that we do, that we manage the safety aspect of what we do day in and day out. Secondly, when it comes to identifying Tadano and through the growth, as many times as you grow as a company and in acquisitions of other companies with other brand names, you have to decide the direction that you want to take. Tadano has really built our legacy on safety and quality. And going forward, we've made the decision that we are going to be identified globally as Tadano. So as we continue to grow, if we should acquire other companies, you're going to see us take the same approach that we will transition those names to be identified as Tadano going forward. Of course, you cannot just turn a switch on an effort that large, but we've really put this on a fast track. Our decision to retire the brand names that we currently have, that's going to be done as of production units coming off the line October the 1st. The same thing with the nomenclature harmonization that we showed you on how we're going to identify those products. We really feel that when you set your direction, it's important to implement that quickly. We realized that at the time that we acquired DMAG, that the industry was going to be looking to see us set a direction to show that we're going to make some commitments and that we have some focus going forward. And this is one of the first steps in doing that. The other thing that we talked about that's already been in place from day one is the way we support the product. As I think a couple of the guys mentioned in their presentations, we have invested significantly in the technical aspect of supporting these cranes by adding technicians, by adding engineers, and by putting parts on the shelf for all of the products that we represent. That has been a very big part of the investment. But going back to your original question, the identification of the product, that is going to happen quickly. Now, the actual product engineering going forward, you have to know that that's going to be a transition over time. We have relatively new models that were developed at Tadano through the Fawn factory and the engineering of the DMAG products that are relatively new that are being rolled out. They will surely run their useful life as a crane. Going forward, the new cranes, and I think it was mentioned that we're going to have multiple cranes running off of our lines, new cranes that we're going to introduce. Those will be a blend of the engineering teams. And we're going to take the best of both worlds. The operating systems, we're going to pick the best of what we have right now. We're going to refine that through our engineering teams and then put that into the new products. And really, we're going to approach all of our engineering of the new products in that same manner, to where the industry should expect that they're going to see the best in both the quality aspect of the way we manufacture the cranes, and also the blend of the engineering excellence that we offer through all of our technologies into our future products going forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Ken. This is a big process, a big undertaking, and I think the team is really well prepared to take on that challenge. As I invite our participants this morning, you can use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen or even the chat. So I will be monitoring for any questions coming in. I'd like to go to Justin for a moment because Justin has been is now on the board of the Crane Rental Association of Canada for the last years, being a great support to our organization. Justin is also involved in the Boom Dolly Research Committee that's doing quite a bit of work in Western Canada right now. Justin, your fascination, your enthusiasm when you talk about AT Crane is remarkable. What kind of support do you I mean, I know you're very knowledgeable about the ATs, and you've been a great support for me to help me grow and understand that part of the business as well. The support of the Boom Dolly and Crane combination, what are you able to do with your clients out west, or even anywhere across Canada for that matter?
Sure. So really interesting. I'll probably back up a little bit. Coming from the Australian market, we really don't have too many dollies. So the dolly side of things was fairly new to me. Rolling over here in, my office is in Edmonton and Leduc, and I actually live in BC. I came across a lot of problems, a lot of roadblocks and frustrations from the manufacturing standpoint and the customer standpoint. And I really wanted to, help our customers out and make it easy as possible, safe as possible to move our cranes. So what I really want to do, I want to work with our local engineers. So we have an engineering team in Houston, Texas, which I was working very closely and basically said, okay, what do we have? Okay, how do we improve? And then I talked to my customers, what do you want? And what's going to make the most sense? That's something which I really worked hard with my customers and the engineers. And then I went back to the factories in Germany to try and come up with solutions, which we did quite successfully. Once we kind of knew where we had to stand, then I would talk to our dolly manufacturers to try and line them up and see if we can work together and really amalgamate the two and really come with a great package. By doing that and really promoting that well, and that took me quite a while to really get my head around, that has helped our customers tremendously. And a lot of customers, like a certain model that we produce, and I've sold a few units recently, where we don't have to remove the rear outrigger beams in Springbend, Alberta. That was one really big obstacle I had to try and overcome. And together we found a solution and we executed. So that's been fantastic. And we're now using that information, relaying it back to the factory. The factory knows exactly what our targets are going to be. So when we do come with new developments, that's always going to be kept in mind so we can make sure we can provide the right cranes for our customers in this region.
Thank you very much, Lance. And I'll go to Dan first. Dan, you really laid out for us the understanding of the processes and the quality control and the business that's supporting Tadano's, as an important family, not only in North America, South America as well. So for you personally, what has been, I guess, the biggest reward or even challenge as well through this process of changing and growth?
Sure. I came over August of 2019, Claire, with the DMAG acquisition. So as far as getting the Tadano team up to speed on the products and what works and on the crawler side and the all-terrains and providing training, that was probably the biggest hurdle, and understanding how we, spec these machines out for the market and what works and what hasn't worked with the history. So that was probably, the biggest piece here and the biggest hurdle I've had over the first 2 years here to get this team up to speed. And now we are pushing this product and pushing those models into the North American customer base. So it's met with success. We also had to, through Ken, we had to rationalize our distributor channel as well of how we go to market. So that wasn't always easy, right? Taking dealers that had sold the products in the past and try and incorporate them into also indoctrinating them into the Tadano way and taking on the Tadano suite of products. The customer support side, which Dean Barley is the head of aftermarket for support, and he also supports Latin America as well. Dean is the one that's really been driving the One Tadano and trying to bring all of these brands and harmonize them, as Ken had mentioned in his presentation. So it's taken a while, and getting a call center up to speed and service technicians to be able to support all of these product lines and do it throughout COVID, right? When training and cross training was at a very difficult endeavor with travel, right? So there's more coming. It's probably not as fast as we all would like and our customers would like, but it did put a little bit of an obstacle and a hurdle on trying to move that forward with the cross training piece. But it is actively in pursuit by our team, and we are really pushing hard, as I mentioned, on the parts and the support side, to really make sure we have the DMAG parts available for our customers, because in the past, fill rates during the acquisition, they did drop. We have moved that needle up dramatically. We've incurred a lot of freight issues out of Europe. That's been some obstacle, which is why we wanted to increase our fill rates and make sure that we had stock, which is why Tadano invested pretty heavily since the acquisition. So that's really the main obstacles and what I've seen and how we've kind of moved forward here and moved the needle here in the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's very impressive. And Lance, I will go to you, because year after year, when we survey our members, technology is such a huge issue for crane company owners and their team, just to keep up with the technology. And what you shared in terms of the tools and resources available to Tadano crane owners. How do you support your customers to adopt this new technology as you're introducing them? Are you playing a big part in that?
Yeah, I think between Justin and I and the other RBMs, we try to be as in front of it as we can, and kind of walk them through and show them the sites and show them how things integrate, and try to make ourselves familiar with it as well. So that's learning the two different both the DMAG and the Tadano, as they are separate systems today. I mean, eventually, as Ken mentioned, things will come together into one, but just having that understanding and trying to show them the value and the benefits they get out of it. Quality and safety and efficiency are the three main pillars of what Tadano stands for. So those are just tools to help them better utilize their fleets and make sure that everything is staying the way it should be.
Yes, and from what you shared, certainly safety as being at the heart of the tools that have been selected for the Tadano product. Ken, as we wrap up this conversation, I just will give you the closing remarks, but I want to thank every one of you for joining us, for being a part of the Manufacturers Showcase, our first one. We will continue through the years to have conversations with other member of the Crane Rental Association and manufacturers, but certainly it's been a real pleasure to learn about the product, and I continue my journey in learning about the Tadano product. This webinar was recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel and to our members. And Ken, I'd like to give you back the microphone to wrap up this great conversation. I do not see other questions coming in, so back to you, Ken. Thank you very, very much for participating.
Claire, thank you so much. It's always interesting, but always a lot of fun to participate in all of these events in CRAC. I think for all of us, it's a bit unusual that we have to be here on a video conference when we prefer to be somewhere at a beautiful location in Canada having the big annual event about this time. So I do miss that. I'm looking forward to getting that back on track. I guess to close the meeting here, first of all, I'd like to say that number one, the business, the customers in Canada are very important to Tadano. We have been doing business in Canada for many years. We have been members of CRAC for many years. And I want everybody to know that we're not going anywhere. We're only going to become stronger. We're going to become more committed. Our endeavor, our mission is to offer you the best products with excellent service. And we are committed to getting there. We have a tiger by the tail right now with the amount of growth that has hit us in the short amount of time, along with the challenges of COVID. But in many ways, it's made us a stronger company. It's made us more efficient in learning how to deal with obstacles and challenges that were quite unexpected, as many of us have. But in closing, I'd just like to say thank you to you, to all of the customers that we have in Canada. And we look forward to serving your needs going forward. And thank you for your business.